Hey everyone, thanks again for joining me for today's daily transmission. It's been a few days since I've been able to get on here. I've been doing a lot of work here at the farm. It's just that time of year as we're getting ready for the next transition of season. So this one really matters a whole lot to me. It's about healthcare and wellness. And I hope you'll stick with me to the end because I've got a question for you and I would love your engagement there. Today's daily transmission on healthcare, wellness, and living embodied. I am alive because of modern medicine. That's not a belief. That's not a philosophy. That's a fact. In 2013, I was in a very serious car accident. My eyes were crossed for 3 days, and I was diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury. When I was 14, I was in a lawnmower accident that nearly took my foot and my life. In those moments, I didn't need theories. I didn't need wellness language. I needed an emergency room. I needed surgeons, trauma teams, imaging machines, sterile tools, and people with skills that I do not have. And I am deeply grateful for that care. That is healthcare, doing what it does best. That is acute care. That is intervention when something has gone very wrong. What took me years to understand, years of working in healthcare and in public health, years of raising children, years of living inside a body, is that acute care and long-term health are not the same thing. And confusing the two creates a lot of fear, force with power, and oversimplification. Healthcare is very good at the crisis. It, however, is not designed to teach you how to live. At some point, I started noticing patterns. Adults carrying exhaustion like it was normal, children dysregulated before they even had language for what they were feeling inside, stress being normalized, fake poor food being normalized, disconnection normalized, and somehow the response always came after the breakdown, not before, not upstream. That's when my orientation changed. Not away from science, not away from responsibility, but toward context. So I went up the stream to try to figure some things out. Each body is its own living system. Each life comes with its own conditions. I started listening more closely to my own body, to my children's bodies, to other people describing what actually helped them feel nourished, regulated, and resilient. I started paying attention to the life all around me, the birds, the plants, the air, the water. And here's something I've learned. Lived experience, it does matter. Not because it should be applied to everyone exactly the same way, but because it keeps people embodied. It keeps us paying attention to how life, illness, stress, environment, belief, and care actually interact in a real human being, in a real human body. That awareness is valuable information. The mistake isn't honoring personal experience. The mistake is assuming that your experience or your framework should become the rule for everyone else's body. That's not discernment. That's projection. At some point, one way of approaching health hardened into certainty. The conversation narrowed, complexity became inconvenient, and instead of making room for different bodies and different contexts, we started acting as if alignment mattered more than understanding. Get in line and be exactly like everyone else. Sounds like slave treatment to me. Living systems don't work like systems. Public health can describe risk, and that definitely has a place, but describing risk is not the same thing as deciding for people. The movement information turns into compulsion We've crossed out of care and into control. Law was never meant to standardize bodies, and bodies were never meant to be standardized. It was meant to protect your choice. The choice over one's home, one's property, one's body, and one's children. Every time law has been used to override bodily sovereignty, it hasn't come from a grounded, discerning population. It has come from systems that believed authority knew better than lived reality. That history matters. If my arm is severed, take me to the ER. If my brain is injured, please scan it. If my life is truly on the line, use every tool available. But even that is perspective, because not every diagnosis that's called an emergency is an emergency. And oftentimes the emergency occurred because it was called an emergency, not because it was an actual emergency. Not every condition benefits from the fear factor. And not everybody thrives under the same approach. While one woman has an emergency situation in a hospital, another woman has an emergency situation at home. Not everyone's going to do a birth the same way. Everyday health doesn't live by force. It lives in a relationship. It lives in context. And I can tell you personally that having a relationship with a physician that actually listens to what you have to say about your body and your children's body is a miracle. And people recognize it. I'm not interested in obedience. I'm interested in orientation. I'm not interested in rules carved in stone. But I'm interested in to discern where discernment fits. Not control for its own sake, but context that actually honors life. I don't need to be right. I need to be honest about complexity. And complexity isn't chaos. It's intelligence at work. It's wisdom with its sleeves rolled up. It's wisdom to know that if you care about the rights of life and the life around you, then you will care about all life, not just human life. It's self-awareness that hasn't hardened into certainty because it's not a machine. And when all of that is guided by grace, that's when care becomes real. Care for humans, care for animals, care for plants, care for this entire world, earth, and ecosystem all around us. Now, if you're willing, I would love for you to share with me one thing your body has taught you about health. I don't want your advice. I don't want your instruction. I just want you to tell me the truth that you lived through. Tell me your anecdotes. Because we don't need consensus. We'll never have consensus. We need to listen. We need shared experiences. Thank you, friends, so much for joining me. And please just remember, these are always just my daily transmissions. These are how I'm experiencing the world. And these are the things that are coming through me to share with you. And I truly believe that's why God gave me the experiences that I've had in this lifetime and the voice that I have to continue sharing what I'm seeing. Have a beautiful day, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much. Please respond. I'd love to hear from you. Bye, friends.